All right, on to the second chakra, and this is the sacral chakra. Symbolism and meaning, the visual language of your inner flow. The symbol, as you'll see on this slide, is a six-petal lotus flower with a crescent moon and often a circle. The six petals represent various emotions: anger, hatred, jealousy, confusion, disgust, fear, that need to be processed for purity, or aspects of sensuality and creativity. The crescent moon symbolizes the water element, fluidity, cycles, emotions, and the feminine principles. The circle represents the continuous flow of energy and pleasure. The color is orange, signifies creativity, passion, joy, sexuality, and emotional expression. Overall meaning, emphasis on connecting to water. Water is a good metaphor for emotions. Emotions work best if they flow in and out. Once we resist emotions or start suppressing them, that's when the fluid from the root chakra can't rise into the second chakra, and then it can get stopped right there. So things can't progress through the chakra system and out into manifestation. So a lot of this creates sexual issues, repression with your sexual desires, overstimulating too. It can do the opposite. It can either be under or over, and just the general flow of life and creativity. Once we start resisting life is when things usually don't work out. If we're doing one thing too much and not incorporating the whole of life, that's when we're filled with doubt and we just lack joy and pleasure in life. Pleasure can come in all different forms. Just interacting with people, having social fun time, your joy, whatever creates joy in your life. What hobbies do you do that you like to express your creativity through? In our day and age, it's really easy to just keep working and not stop working. There's a lot of overworking these days, and that has to do a lot with fear of survival. So you can see how the root chakra can affect this one. If we're fearing survival, usually we're not in the flow of life and things aren't blooming in our life. The joy isn't there and we just feel depleted. So energy can escape through this chakra if we're not taking time to create joy and pleasure in our life. Your wellspring of emotions and creativity. The sacral chakra is essential for emotional flow, creativity, and pleasure. If you feel stuck or uninspired in life, you might need nurturing to this specific chakra. And a lot of times, how you'll be able to find that if you keep having to do things you don't want to do and it makes you feel like you have a pit in your stomach. Emotions get stored in this area in our stomach as well, below the navel and just above the pubic bone. You can tune in right now and just kind of breathe into that area and see how the energy is held in there. Is it tight? Is it expansive? These are kind of clues you can get to tune into your chakras by just tuning into the sensations that you get in these specific body areas. So again, if you feel stuck or uninspired, that you can get some clues about how it feels in this area. Discover powerful ways to unleash emotional freedom and enhance creativity. A balanced sacral chakra can enrich relationships and bring joy. And this also means enrich relationships in your internal world and your outer world. So we have to give as much attention to ourselves, our inner world, as we do our outer world. It has to be, it's better to have like a pretty good flow between the two. Once it gets off balance, then just taking time for one or the other is important. I can get stuck in doing inner world work, and that prevents me from being social with family and friends. So it goes both ways. Connection with water through baths or swimming, um, and incorporating fluid movements such as dance or yoga to enhance emotional flow. I don't know what it is, but every time I go by water, I feel better. If I'm by an ocean or a large reservoir, even a swimming pool, it always brightens my mood. And I love hot springs, so that's another fun way to incorporate that water movement into your world. Emotional expression is essential for genuine connections and genuine joy. A balanced sacral chakra promotes growth, leading to a more vibrant life. So, this is where you harness that passion and joy that you want to see exude out of your life. So the sacral chakra has that Sanskrit word. I'm going to try and say this. I hope I say it right. Svadhisthana. Svadhisthana. I think that's how you say it. That is like the hardest one to say out of all the 7 ones. And like I kind of mentioned already, it's in your lower abdomen, typically about 2 inches below your navel. It encompasses the reproductive organs, lower back, pelvis, and hips. So this is another good clue if those areas of your body have continual pain over and over. Chances are there's not enough creativity or joy in your life, setting aside for play and just fun, creative expression. So that's something to think about if those areas of your body seem to be always in pain. Age of development, the sacral chakra is the second chakra to develop. Its development period is between 6 months and 2 years, and influenced by life during ages 7 and 4. So 6 months to 2 years seems like it would be kind of part of the root chakra, but the root chakra is 1 to 7. But if you think about being a toddler, once you become 6 months, you're starting to experience your senses, and you'll put toys in your mouth. You're starting to taste different foods. You're using all of the taste bud and your taste palette. You're experimenting with what sweet and sour and bitter and all those kind of tastes. You're hearing music, and you're starting to distinguish voices of your family and society that are around you. So you develop a lot of those sensory aspects during between 6 months and 2 years. And then after that, the main formation of it is between ages 7 and 14. If you think of that time in your life, you can relate to wanting to develop your own creative style, your own identity, whether you're breaking the mold and being a creative, unique being, or your identity is you're going along with what friends and family are telling you you need to look and act like. And of course, it's a combination of all of that because we want to please and we want to feel accepted in our society, but also it gives you kind of clues of those age ranges and reflecting on the bad things that happened and the good things that happened. that really shapes your adulthood. Um, so, interesting messages you might have received from TV or nowadays social media, movies, music about how men treat women and women treat men. Lots of romance movies that are not, they're created for entertainment. It's not necessarily how a healthy, functional relationship could look like. So we get influenced by a lot of those images, and then we're also seeing older siblings, what they're doing, how they're dating, with different partners, and of course, how our parents' relationship is developing. So it's a lot of interesting reflection to reflect on those times and see how and what could have shaped your sacral chakra. And again, like I've said through this course, the beauty is we always have an opportunity to kind of like detox our chakra system and implement new ways of balancing according to our current modern day lifestyle. These phase is critical for developing a sense of self beyond basic survival. So basic survival. Now we're starting to think outside the root chakra, and we're wondering and dreaming about what kind of life we might want to have as an adult. Because by 14, most 14-year-olds think that they know everything and they are already adults. So if you can imagine how you were at 14 and the dreams you had of what adult life um, would look like. It's also a good way to get clues if your life isn't anything like you dreamed of it during ages 17 or 7 to 14. It can give you a clues of maybe the detours you took that um, either prevented you from having that lifestyle or accentuated having that lifestyle. Maybe you liked art a lot as a kid and now you're a digital artist, or maybe you liked art as a kid and you do nothing related to art at all. You just work, 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 work. Chances are, if that's the case, your low back and your hips hurt. So these are just good clues that we can use to get in touch with our energy system. Once you get in touch with your energy system, that's where you're empowering yourself to make a change. And then also the big emphasis is relationships. If maybe you desire a relationship and you've been single for a long time, there's things that we can look at and shift around our mindsets and our limiting beliefs, detox from those to help this energy flow through your energy system in a more fluid manner. We've kind of gone over this, but associated with our sexuality and sensual pleasure, passion for life, creativity and self expression, what our style is, how we present ourselves to the world. And this can be like the previous screen, what mask you're wearing. Is the mask that people are seeing on the outside of you reflecting your soul's light, or is it something that's not reflecting who you want to be? So this is an area that you have a chance to change that up if you don't like how people are reacting to you. Maybe you're wearing a mask that you're not aware of. So that's kind of an interesting thing to ponder. Our emotions and emotional fluidity. How good are we at giving and receiving emotions? This is a good indicator if somebody gives you a gift, do you shy away and not accept it? Do you always like to be the giver? Having that emotional balance means give and take. Also, do we express our emotions in a healthy way, or do we explode and attack people with our emotions whenever somebody upsets us? Do we have emotional balance to be able to communicate clearly how our emotions are bubbling up on the inside and creating healthy relationships by being able to communicate clearly? Or are we suppressing our emotions and just putting a smile on our face and being a people pleaser? There's lots of different things to reflect upon, and there's no right or wrong way, but if we want to live more of our authentic self, that's going to always bring us more joy and happiness in life. So there's just clues that can be taken from the chakra system to tune into the shifts that could happen to be able to manifest more joy and happiness and ease and comfort in life. Relationships are big. As humans, we need relationships. People can actually get sick and die of a lonely heart if they're not connecting with others, if they've gotten to a point in their life and they just want to give up. People can end their lives, but that's the emotions, being able to take responsibility and process those in a healthy way that's beneficial for your inner world and your outer world and all those that you come in contact with. Um, I know I want to live a life where I'm creating as much peace as I can, and that involves treating myself peacefully and anybody that I'm having relationships with peacefully. I don't want to keep creating toxic karmic loops where I have to keep experiencing this over and over. So I have a passion to just keep evolving and keep growing and healing the wounds that might interrupt my ability to communicate my feelings, getting in touch with what my feelings are so I can articulate those clearly, to anybody that I come in contact with, whether it's somebody I meet walking at the park or, um, shopping somewhere or driving. We all have the ability to create peace wherever we go, but it has to be authentically felt. So if there's a bunch of turmoil inside that's preventing peace from exuding out of our humanness, our human form, then there's a little more inner work to do to be balanced in that way. So, yeah, relationships and connection to others, getting along with others and ourselves, a sense of abundance and flow in life, being able to flow divine guidance and create your passion for life. And that I feel the most happy and comfortable in my body when I can feel like I'm not resisting or suppressing my emotions, because it seems like life opens up and there's more possibility and I'm able to move forward. I'm not being held still in just one place where I'm continuing a cycle over and over. When I get in touch with my emotions and heal some things that keep me stuck, it helps the flow happen again. So it's a continual process and we're never going to get it all done, but we can find ways to find peace and enjoy any moment and every moment we can, and keep redirecting to how to create more love and joy in our life. Inherited influences and environmental fluidity. How past generations and your early interactions shape your emotional and creative expression. Ancestral emotional patterns. Inherited emotional habits, suppressed feelings, or expressions of joy from parents and previous generations can impact your emotional freedom. Um, this is, again, we talked about epigenetics, I think, in the root chakra video, but we pick up different expressions and the way we hold our body by observing our family and the caretakers around us. This is how we interpret emotions and we mirror everything that we're seeing from our parents and our grandparents until we figure out that we have our own um, expressions, and then you can alter it at that point, whether you do the same as them or change it to make things more enjoyable in your life. So it definitely impacts your emotional freedom. Another thing about ancestors, when they've crossed over, some believe that you can still have relationships with them. Also, that sometimes you don't want to have relationships with them if you had ex- bad experiences with past loved ones. And there's a technique where you can surround yourself by white light and just set the intention that only love and light will come to you, and that only ancestors that have your highest good and highest intention are able to come into your reality and give you messages, if that's something that you want to foster. The second chakra is also about mother's influence, a mother's emotional state, how she processed feelings, and how capable of joy, receiving joy that she was. Was she capable of intimacy? And intimacy is also just being able to be nurturing and create a safe space to give you, as the toddler, the developing child, the love and affection that you're craving. Um, During your toddler years can be profoundly influencing on your sacral chakra. There's a whole nother series that I could do about healing the mother wound. Some of us get, a good experience with our mothers and some don't. Unfortunately, some are more tragic than others. I've heard some pretty intense stories about mother wounds. Um, but regardless, it's something that is a part of our life, and it affects our adulthood, positively or negatively. If it's affecting you negatively, mother wounds can be like, if it was expressed in adult form, more like it's hard for you to give and receive love. You don't feel nurtured or cared for in life. If you're abandoned by your mother, you are constantly seeking people to help you feel nurtured. And a lot of times, unfortunately, when we have an unbalanced energy, we seek negative attention to try and fill that void because it's coming from a traumatic experience of being neglected and abandoned. So that energy is a lower vibration, and we're seeking validation from other people with lower vibrations to fill that void that we couldn't receive from our mother. And we're all human. Your mom does the best she can. Um, there's definitely trauma that she suffered, most likely hasn't healed herself, and that gets passed down from generation to generation. But you have the opportunity to heal that wound so it stops with you and doesn't keep continuing through the next generations, and also help nurture other people around you that might have a mother wound. If you're exuding a healthy maternal instinct, then that can help heal others with a wounded mother wound. Um, so yeah, that's a whole another topic, and it's very deep and important, and it's something to look into, especially if there's a lack of joy and creative expression in your life, just not feeling nurtured. Another thing to look at would be doing work around healing the mother wound. Environmental fluidity. where your early emotional needs met. So again, kind of the mother wound. Um, was there a healthy environment for creative play and emotional expression? If not, you might find yourself suppressing feelings of seeking unhealthy outlets for pleasure as an adult. So that's kind of just what I went over, and that can look like a lot of different ways. It could even look like overworking and just not taking time for joy and pleasure and vacations. So that could be it, always seeking for approval and always wanting to achieve. But the thing is, once you achieve those feelings, or once you achieve those goals, sometimes there's no joy in it, because it's just been work, 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 and no play, and no pleasure and creative outlets. So even though we're adults, we still like to have our child innocence come out and enjoy life like a toddler would. Just be curious about your environment, be playful, joke around, laughter, not take things so seriously. So there's lots of different outlets for healing and balancing that in the root chakra. The impact of a drained chakra. When your wellspring of emotions and creativity run dry, life feels less vibrant. Lack of emotional flow and creativity, you might feel emotionally numb, blocked creatively, or struggling with passion and intimacy. Energy depletion. A drained sacral chakra serves or starves your emotional vitality, leading to a dullness in life. Low vibration. Without the inner light vibrating at a higher frequency, you can attract low vibration experiences. Emotional numbness or volatility, creative blocks, and a lack of inspiration. Relationship issues, codependency, detachment, feelings of guilt, shame, or worthiness. These are all somewhat self explanatory. Basically, if you're not feeling good, you're not going to feel excited about life. And we'll talk more about ways to balance this out if life becomes dull and lifeless. Then it's a really good idea to pay attention to that. You don't want depression to overtake your life and overrun your life, and that energy, it attracts like energy. And there's a lot of spiritual guilt and shame of maybe not doing affirmations right, or maybe not doing manifestation right, but there is balancing that can be done in the chakras to help boost that energy inside, clear out the things that might be robbing you of your peace. Maybe you need a new job that's not really resonating with your soul's purpose. Finding out what your soul's purpose is and starting to move in that direction, and you'll start attracting more things that bring you more joy and prosperity and just excitement about life. When we don't have excitement about life, nothing seems worth it. So it's really important to figure this aspect out about oneself, so you don't have to suffer. There's no need to continue to suffer. I know it doesn't seem like it at times that we have a lot of support, but there are a lot of people around that want to help people. And it's just a matter of opening our eyes to that direction and trusting that process. Um, so, yeah, there's different ways that you can get back to the youthfulness and the vitality that you felt when you were playing with your friends on the playground or what have you, the things that brought you joy. If you think back being a kid and the fun that you used to have that was carefree, those are the kind of things that need to be a regular in your adult life as well. That's going to help you keep that passion and creativity alive in your life. Healing and reconnecting to your flow. Reclaim your passion, creativity, and emotional freedom. Heal emotional wounds. Some ways to heal emotional wounds, obviously, is talk therapy. Another form that I like to do is journaling, and you can, when emotions are kind of built up and overshadowing your system, get out pen and paper and scribble your emotions out and your thoughts out until you can't write anymore. Once that's achieved, then you can rip it out of the notebook and shred it either with your hands or with paper shredder. Or a lot of people like to do almost like a ceremony and burn it. Um, it's just a good way to get the subconscious and conscious mind seeing that visual of the emotions actually emoting out of your body and the stress leaving your body onto paper, and doing that symbolization of shredding it or destroying it. And you don't have to worry about punctuation or spelling or anything like that. Part of the reason why you're throwing it away too is so you don't have to worry about anybody reading it. So you literally just do a brain dump and dump it all out on paper. This is a good routine to do in the morning and the night. In the morning, it kind of sets the tone, like a clear tone for the day. And once you do it, you'll feel that release out of your body because you actually create space for new energy to come in once you eliminate some of that brain chatter that's just going on and on and on. Um, and another thing at night, if you're doing it before night, it helps you sleep better because during the night, if there's a lot of stress when we go to sleep, um, you can process that all night long and have a restless sleep. So, this is a good way to empty that out so your brain can relax and actually get some sleep. Embrace healthy pleasures and creativity. Consciously engage in activities that bring you joy, sensuality, and creative expression. There's lots of ways to do this, and saying that you're not creative isn't an excuse. Everybody can be creative, everybody knows how to play. You knew how to play when you were a kid, so you just tap into the things you like to do as a kid. We're always creating as kids, and we're playing and interacting. We're playing house and imagination games. So you could literally write a poem or do arts and crafts. I like to do pottery, hand build sculptures, beading, drawing, watercolor, things like that. And if you're not into arts and crafts, you can do music, which I also love. That will fill the soul as well and help the second chakra get revamped with new energy. And a lot of people will do body movement. There's ecstatic dance where they get together. It's kind of like a guided, almost like a yoga thing, but people are just doing a freestyle dance and nobody's judging your body movements. If that bothers you, you can turn the music up at home and just dance around your living room or whatever. There's lots of ways to use that passion and sensuality, and you can do that through fabrics, the clothes you wear, creating a beautiful plate of food. My daughter's really good at that, arranging everything just perfectly and artistically on the plate when she serves food. And another one is aromatherapy, lighting a candle, your favorite scent, things like that. Something that's going to stimulate your senses, basically, in an authentic way. Um, and that'll help keep things balanced. Connecting with water, it's a good visual too to just create when you're in the water, imagining that fluid just kind of like cleansing your whole system and flowing effortlessly through your system. Bathing and swimming in lakes, reservoirs, rivers. Taking a dip under a waterfall is always nice. I love hot springs as well. That promotes that fluid movement. Dance, like I was saying, move your body. We get stuck in these work positions where we're sitting at a computer for 12 hours or doing the same movement over and over. It's really good to break out of that in your free time and move your body in different ways than how you're having to use it at work. That also can create those kind of movements, can create emotional flow, if especially if you're kind of using sounds with it. Sound therapy is great with movement like that. Why emotions, let's see, expression is vital. It allows for authentic connection, joy, and the free flow of your creative spirit. Room for growth. A balanced sacral chakra is like a flowing river, allows for emotional and creative growth, leading to a richer, more vibrant life. Without our passions and joy for light, things that light our heart up, things just seem lifeless and dull. So there's lots of ways that we can enrich our surroundings and bring more of that sensual joy and pleasure into our life. And it doesn't always have to involve money. It's really simple.